My friends, listen carefully. Every person under the sound of my voice has faced a night so dark, a pain so heavy, a burden so unbearable, that it felt like the end. Maybe it was betrayal, maybe it was failure, maybe it was loss, maybe it was a dream that shattered into pieces. And in those moments, hope feels like a distant memory. The darkness whispers, "This is it. You will never rise again." But I came here today to remind you, the story of Jesus teaches us that the darkest night is never the end. It is the setup for a greater dawn. Think about Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, the Son of God himself, crying out, sweating drops of blood, overwhelmed with sorrow. He said, "My soul is crushed with grief to the point of death." That was not weakness. That was humanity. That was the weight of the world pressing down on him. Have you ever been there? When the weight of life crushes you so badly that you don't even have the words to pray? That's Gethsemane. That's the night before the cross. That's the place where hope seems buried under pain. But notice something. Jesus did not run from his struggle. He faced it. He prayed through it. And even though the road ahead was filled with betrayal, rejection, and the cross, he kept moving forward. Here's the lesson. Hope is not the absence of pain. Hope is the strength to walk through the pain, knowing that something greater is coming. Now picture the cross. The sky grew dark. The earth trembled. The people mocked. The disciples scattered. And for a moment, it looked like evil had won. Jesus, the one who healed the sick, raised the dead, fed thousands, was hanging powerless on a wooden cross. Maybe that's where you are right now. Maybe you feel nailed down by your circumstances. Maybe your dreams are crucified. Maybe your faith is hanging by a thread. But hear me. The cross was not the end. It was the doorway. Because even when everything looks finished, God is still writing the next chapter. Think about a seed. When you put it in the ground, it looks buried. It looks gone. But in reality, it's not buried. It's planted. Something is happening in the dark soil that eyes cannot see. That's what the cross looked like. Burial. But in reality, it was planting. It was the setup for resurrection. And the same is true for you. The pain you're going through right now may look like the end, but maybe you're not buried. Maybe you're planted. Maybe your comeback is already growing in the dark. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, a man lost everything. His job, his home, his health. People said he would never recover. For 2 years, he lived in darkness. But in that dark season, something grew inside him. Strength, creativity, resilience. He started writing, and that writing became the book that changed his life. The very season that looked like the end became the beginning of his success. My friend, your pain today may be the soil of tomorrow's greatness. So, how do we hold on when life feels like Gethsemane, when everything looks like the cross? 1. Remember that pain is temporary. The night is long, but dawn is certain. 2. Keep moving forward. Jesus kept walking, step by step, toward his purpose, even when the weight was unbearable. 3. Don't let darkness define you. The cross looked like defeat, but it became the greatest victory. Now I want you to think about your own life. Where is your Gethsemane? Where is your cross? Maybe it's a broken relationship. Maybe it's financial pressure. Maybe it's a dream you buried long ago. I want you to hold that picture in your mind. And now imagine this. The same God who turned the cross into a resurrection is able to turn that situation into victory. Do you believe it? Think of the disciples on Friday night. They were hiding, trembling in fear. Peter had denied Jesus. Thomas had doubted. Mary wept at the tomb. To them, hope was gone. But while they were sitting in fear, God was already preparing resurrection. Listen, just because you can't see God working doesn't mean He's not moving. The silence of Saturday does not mean the absence of God. Sometimes God does His greatest work in silence. When the seed is under the soil, nobody claps. Nobody sees it. Nobody praises it. But in that hidden place, life is forming. In the same way, when you feel forgotten, when you feel invisible, God may be building something inside you that will one day shock the world. If you love Lord Jesus, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, a man lost everything: his job, his home, his health. People said he would never recover. For 2 years, he lived in darkness. But in that dark season, something grew inside him: strength, creativity, resilience. He started writing, and that writing became the book that changed his life. The very season that looked like the end became the beginning of his success. My friend, your pain today may be the soil of tomorrow's greatness. So, how do we hold on when life feels like Gethsemane, when everything looks like the cross? 1. Remember that pain is temporary. The night is long, but dawn is certain. 2. Keep moving forward. Jesus kept walking, step by step, toward His purpose, even when the weight was unbearable. 3. Don't let darkness define you. The cross looked like defeat, but it became the greatest victory. Between Friday and Sunday came Saturday, the silent day. Nothing seemed to happen. Jesus was in the tomb. The disciples were in despair. But even when they couldn't see it, God was still moving. That's a lesson for us. Just because your miracle hasn't come yet doesn't mean it's denied. It may only be delayed. Hold on through your Saturday, because your Sunday is on the way. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Gold is purified through fire, and character is built through trials. Don't despise the struggle you are in. It may be shaping you into the person God destined you to be. If Jesus' cross became the key to salvation, maybe your pain today is becoming the platform for your purpose tomorrow. I know someone listening right now feels like giving up. You've cried prayers that no one heard. You've asked questions that have no answers. You've sat in silence, feeling abandoned. But let me tell you something powerful. Even Jesus cried, "My God, why have you forsaken me?" He understands your pain. He knows the weight you carry. And if the story didn't end on Friday for Him, it won't end on Friday for you. The cross is heavy, but the resurrection is coming. It looked like death, but it was life. It looked like defeat, but it was victory. It looked like the end, but it was only the beginning. And the same is true for you. It looked like death, but it was life. It looked like defeat, but it was victory. It looked like the end, but it was only the beginning. And the same is true for you. So when life tells you it's over, when the night seems endless, when hope feels dead and buried, remember this truth. Your darkest night is not your final chapter. Jesus walked through the deepest valley, carried the heaviest cross, and endured the darkest night so that you would know there is always a dawn. And today I declare this over your life. The same power that raised Jesus from the grave is alive in you. Your pain has a purpose. Your tears will water your victory. And your story is not over. Hold on, because the dawn is coming. And when it comes, you will rise stronger, brighter, and unshakable. Remember this: The cross was not the end, and neither is your struggle. The darkest night always gives way to the brightest dawn.